The Boys is a 2019 mature adult superhero drama series. It's an R-rated series, but still has guys who wear their underpants on the outside, flying around, saving the day and shooting lasers out of their eyes. It's a series which I thoroughly enjoyed. Perhaps there was a minuscule amount of reservation in my head going in, because I might have suspected this might be one of those projects where the filmmakers are so chuffed that they have got an R rating that all you end up seeing is R-rated content. Excessive sex, drugs, over-the-top violence and profanity every 2 minutes. This wasn't the case, however. The mature rating is justified. The show is not spectacle-based either, like a lot of superhero shows. In fact, the spectacle, like the superhero showdowns and gunfights, of which there aren't too many really, aren't very memorable. This is actually a series with very good characterization and a good story, and it's those two elements of the show that drive the narrative, as opposed to all the explosions and stuff. The characters in particular are very good, more so than the comics this series is based on, I hear, because in spite of being trapped in superhero confinements, they feel real, they feel three-dimensional. I'm hard-pressed to find someone in the show who I can call a clear and cut good guy, because everyone has good points and bad points, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So anyway, what's it about? Well, it's set in a world where superheroes are real. There are people born with super strength, super speed, the usual. They are recognized as heroes by the public, and most are owned by a powerful corporation called Vault International. Many would-be superheroes spend their lives hoping and training to be in the Seven, a team of superheroes owned by Vault that fight crime all throughout the world and are cherished and adored by the public. There's two separate storylines that end up meeting. One is about this young, innocent country girl who gets accepted into the Seven. She and her mother are over the moon. The minute the announcement is made, she becomes an overnight star. The cameras are constantly shoved in her face and she gets the fame and fortune she desired for so long. But when she goes to work for Vault, she sees that things aren't so hunky-dory. She faces the favoritism of corporate interest over saving people. She meets her Harvey Weinsteins. Her image is heavily marketed and monetized. She's told by her bosses to show off more of her body than she's comfortable with because that's what generates these social media boosts. The social media clicks are actually more important than solving the actual crimes, and she finds that the personas of all these superheroes that she's been idolizing are fake. These always smiling, always happy to help heroes are actually narcissistic, self-centered and egotistic. In an atypical case of don't meet your heroes, she finds herself trapped in a position where she feels lost and controlled, but must put on a happy face for the cameras and the media, and is made to feel that she's lucky to be here. We also follow this dude called Huey, whose girlfriend is shredded into pieces in front of his face when a superhero with super speed accidentally runs into and through her, and he just runs off, leaving a bewildered and shell-shocked Huey aggrieved and feeling helpless. He's approached by lawyers of Vault who want him to sign an NDA, offering him money, and he's absolutely furious that the superhero is not going to be held accountable for what he's done. Huey is then approached by a mysterious, gruff, cool-looking individual called Billy Butcher, played in macho fashion by Carl Urban with a hilariously over-the-top but surprisingly adept British Cockney accent. You fucking having a laugh, mate? Butcher recruits Huey as part of his small band of misfits who look to bring down these corrupt superheroes who abuse their power. Interestingly, when you consider the story template, the superhero element isn't even necessary. It's essentially the story of young, naive people discovering the horrible world of corporate capitalism, coupled with the power of media manipulation. You could even remove the superheroes and replace them instead with actors in the film industry or the music industry. In fact, there was a famous Indian actor who a few years ago did a hit and run and got away with it. Almost exactly the same scenario that the Speed superhero in the first episode was in. As such, the series has a very fight the power, fight the man kind of vibe about it, and has you rooting against the superheroes, until it cleverly reveals some tidbits of these superheroes' lives, and you see that a lot of these guys are vulnerable and manipulated individuals who have major psychological issues. Many different themes are tackled, like American Jiganism, hero worship, and the commercialization of religion. With the mature themes and R-rated content, The Boys is a breath of fresh air in a world dominated by conveyor belt corporate superhero films that have no soul and are churned out one after the other. In fact, when you take into account the story itself, It feels like a massive middle finger to Marvel movies and the like. It definitely acts like something of an antidote to those kind of films. It's practically attacking the shallowness of them and the evilness of the industry that makes them. It's also something of a reality check for when we feel it would be really cool if superheroes existed in real life. The premise is great and the execution is wonderful. It's gripping, tense, well acted and funny. Karl Urban, Jack Quaid and Anthony Starr in particular were really strong. The story keeps you guessing, and season 1 ended on a note that made you desperate to see what happens next. Thanks for watching.